back, guys. So today we'll be doing something a little different. No gameplay today. Today we'll be doing a card review of the new upcoming Hearthstone expansion, Ashes of Outland. If you didn't know, new Hearthstone expansion coming out in a few weeks. New class, new hero, the Demon Hunter Illidan himself. So let's get into it. We have 26 cards to review, all pretty new, all pretty awesome, all pretty amazing. And the first card is the dragonmaw Overseer. 3 mana 2/2 priest card. At the end of your turn, give another friendly minion +2/+2. I mean, the stats are not that good. 3 mana 2/2 is not very playable, but giving another friendly minion 2/2 is pretty cool. This is pretty similar to another old school priest card, the Shadow Ascendant, 2 mana 2/2, better stats. At the end of your turn, give another friendly minion +1/+1. So I mean, it's pretty much the same card. It is pretty rare. So I mean, you can see a really cool combo of like playing the Cleric on 1, the Shadow Ascendant on 2, and maybe the Overseer on 3. That would be pretty cool. Only downside to this card is you cannot play it on curve. You have to have a board or at least another minion. But it's pretty good. It gives Priest some early play, some different type of gameplay apart from the Res Priest. So all in all, this is a pretty fun card and it gets 3 stars. On to the next card, which is the Imprisoned antaen. This is a card from the new class, the Demon Hunter class. Good thing, Tribe is demon, so it can come up in your Warlocks when you discover a demon and whatnot. This is part of the new dormant cards. They're dormant for 2 turns. I really do not like these cards too much because they do not impact the board immediately. So it's more of like an overload in a way. It's basically a 7 mana card if it's gonna be dormant for 2 turns. Plus, it is predictable because your opponent knows what's gonna happen in those 2 turns. But the upside is it has a really cool effect after it goes dormant. So this card says it is a 5 mana 10/6. So the stats are insane. 10/6. That should be like an 8 mana card. But dormant for 2 turns. When this awakens, deal 10 damage randomly split among all enemies. This is basically the Reno card, the Reno mage card that deals 10 damage to enemy minions. But this is a bit better because it does to all enemies. I really like this card. I will give this card 4 stars. Keep in mind, again, I have to say this, quick disclaimer, I am not a professional Hearthstone player. I just play Hearthstone for fun. I have been playing it for a really long time now, and this is just my opinions. So I'm not an expert or anything, so don't get it twisted. It's just for fun. So, next card is a 3 mana 3/3 bogstok clacker. It is a shaman card. Rare. It says Battle Cry. Transform adjacent minions into random minions that cost 1 more. Pretty cool. This is more of bringing back Evolve Shaman, which was a really fun deck to play. Stats are pretty fine. 3 mana 3/3 is normal for Hearthstone. This card would work if you have a board already. So like the other cards, you cannot play it on curve. That is the only downside. It has a battle cry, so pretty good. With the new shaman quest, you can easily double the battle cry, which is pretty good. And for that, it gets a 3-star rating. The next card is still a shaman card, Boggspine Knuckles. It is an epic shaman weapon, 5 mana, 4/2, pretty high mana cost. After your hero attacks, transform your minions into random ones that cost 1 more. So Blizzard is really trying to push for Evolve Shaman, trying to bring it back. which is cool. It was a really fun deck. Pretty random because you don't know what you're gonna get with Evolve. All in all, pretty fun, but still needs you to have a board. I mean, it's not the hardest thing to do, especially with the 3 mana rabbits. This summons you 2 more rabbits. It's a pretty fun card. Pretty high mana cost, and this actually needs you to have a board. So if you do not have a board state, this is basically just a weapon to hit face with for 5 mana, which is too expensive for me. This card will get a 2-star rating for me if you do, because it's. The next is a Warlock card. 1 mana Shadow Cancel. Replace your hand with random demons. Give them 2/2. I really like this card. It's epic. If you love Zoo, you will love this card. Because the game has introduced so many new demons, and then buffing them up for +2/+2 is gonna be really cool. But this card wouldn't be very realistic if you're playing a more constructed deck where you kind of need the things in your hand and you don't really want to replace them. So this card highly depends on the deck type you're playing. So for me, for Zoo, this card is going to be really strong. But for other decks, not as much. And because of that, it gets a 3-star rating. Blackjack Stunner. New rogue card. 1 mana 1/2. Pretty okay stats for a 1 mana card. If you control a secret, return a minion to its owner's hand. It costs 2 more. Okay, so the thing with this card is rogues and secrets. Rogues don't have the best secrets per se, but they do have secrets. They did get a new secret that we'll get to in a few, but I don't see this card being very playable because it would mean as a rogue you have to actively have secrets in your deck and actively play this in your deck, which is gonna take up slots for other more powerful cards, I feel. And returning a minion to its owner's hand, most people play like battle cry minions that you don't necessarily want to give them back, like a Zephyrus or like a Dragon Queen, you know? So I don't think this card is gonna be very playable just because rogues don't have the best secrets. If this was in Hunter or like Mage, it would be a lot more playable. But just because of that, it's gonna get 2 stars. The next card is Morag Attifusa. Neutral card, epic, 2 mana 2/4, good stats. It is a demon. All minions take double damage from spells. So this is a very cool card. Very OP actually if you think about it, because double damage from spells is crazy. It's crazy, especially with classes that have like a lot of removal. Think about just like playing this in Mage with a Flame Strike where everyone takes 8. That's pretty crazy. Or like putting him in a Shaman spell, in a Shaman deck, just for the removal. And it is a neutral card, it is a demon, so it's gonna be pretty fun, especially if you just get this and you aren't expecting it. So I really like it, really cool, really good stats for a 2 mana card, and for that reason he gets 4 stars. Shaman spell, 5 mana, Torrent. Says deal 8 damage to a minion. Cost 3 less if you cast a spell last turn. This is pretty good. Shamans usually have like wide board removal and usually not so much single target removal with the hexes. And most of the cards have overload. So this without overload is pretty fun. Plus you get, it can actually cost only 2, which is crazy. So you can actually just like set it up because shamans have a lot of spells. I really like this card. It is only a rare. This gets 3 stars. Ambush. This is the rogue secret, new rogue secret that I was telling you guys about. 2 mana ambush. After your opponent plays a minion, summon a 2/3 Ambusher with poison. This is basically Hunter Secret where you summon a 2/3 poisonous cobra, which is a beast. This is an ambusher. This is a secret that I was talking about that is gonna be playable with the 1 mana 1/2 to return a card in your hand, but this is very easily predictable just because people will know that this is the best secret that Rogue has and will play it will be basically like a mirror entity where you'll play something small just to test it out. So again, I don't think this is something that will see so much play, and for that it gets 2 stars. Scavengers Ingenuity. This is a pretty cool card. Hunter here, 2 mana spell, draw a beast and give it +3/+3. This is actually super cool, super good, super cheap. It makes sense in a hunter class because you can actually set it up for rush minions or like lifesteal minions or charge minions, which would be really good. Or even like with the King Crash, just for like some weird OTK style deck. So for me, I really like this card. It is only a common card, so basically anyone can get it or craft it. For me, this card gets 4 stars. Fortunes. New druid spell, 2 mana. Draw 3 cards, discard any minions drawn. This is basically like the mage spell, Book of Spectres, where you discard any spells drawn. That's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. I never actually played that because it didn't fit with my archetype and how I build my decks. Same with this. It would feel really bad to actually discard minions that you don't want to. So unless you're playing a deck where it's very spell heavy, I would say, for druids, because drawing 3 cards for 2 is actually super good. But for me, in this case, not very practical, not very playable, not very consistent. So in that case, 3 stars. Thus, Sunstrider, the new legendary 6 mana 4/7 says every third spell you cast each turn costs 0. Everyone got this card for free just by logging in, which is pretty cool. Thank you, Blizzard. So people can get a chance to try it out before the new expansion comes out. But personally, I feel like this card is going to be a little hard to use and very specific classes. It is a neutral card, so you can try and fit it in any class, but it says every third spell you cast each turn costs 0. That means you need like a combination of small spells and like a really big spell that you want to play. So this could be very good in classes like Mage or Priest, where you can play like Frostbolt into a free Pyroblast, or you can play something like cheap Priest spells into like Mind Control, which is super OP, but you would still need at least to be on turn 10 with 10 mana. I feel like this card is very situational. It's not gonna see very much play, and I feel that's why we kinda got it for free. So, according to me, it is kinda OP if it's in the right deck, and that's why it's gonna get 3 stars. Next card is from the new class Demon Hunter, 2 mana spell, Spectral Sight. Draw a card, outcast, draw another. So if you don't know by now, outcast is the new keyword whereby if your card is the leftmost card in your hand or the rightmost card in your hand, like you just drew it immediately, it becomes an outcast and it starts glowing orange, so you can actually play it and get the value in it. So drawing a card for 2 mana is okay, but drawing 2 cards for 2 mana is actually super good. Outcast is might be pretty difficult to pull off depending on how your deck is set up, but if you get it at the right time or if you plan for it, the outcast is definitely a plus. And for that, this card gets 3 stars. Furious Felfin, Demon Hunter, 2 mana 3/2 Malok. So it's a Demon Hunter Malok, which is pretty cool, pretty scary, and pretty cute at the same time. Furious Felfin, rare card. Battle Cry says, if your hero attack this turn, gain +1 attack and rush. So this basically becomes a 4-2 rush minion for only 2 mana, which is actually super strong. And since in the Demon Hunter it's pretty easy to attack with your hero power only costing 1. So this is a pretty cool card, pretty strong Malok as well. For me, it gets 4 stars. Hit Commander from the Demon Hunter class. Big Demon, 9 mana, 7/9. Taunt. At the end of your turn, summon a demon from your deck. It's an epic card. It is pretty strong. These are the type of cards you wanna randomly get, especially if you're playing Warlock or if you're discovering demons. So this is a pretty fun card. You summon a demon from your deck, so it would be pretty smart to like have really big demons in your deck. You don't really want to summon something really tiny. Downside of this card is that it is 9 mana, but we've seen that in this class there are cards that allow you to cheapen your demons you play. So all in all, pretty strong. But it is susceptible to single target removal because no one will let this stay on the board for too long. But all in all, pretty good card, pretty strong, good stats. Taunt minion gets 3 stars. New neutral legendary minion, which for me I love, and I can already see it being super amazing, terrorizing a lot of people. It is Teron Garfield. 3 mana, 3/4. Decent stats for 3 mana card. Legendary. Destroy all friendly minions. Death Rattle. Resummon them with +1/+1. So this is pretty cool. Pretty cool applications, pretty cool combos. This can easily fit into an egg deck. Death Rattle eggs, especially with something like the 3 mana 3/4 where your Death Rattles trigger immediately. That combo is gonna be super crazy. Or something like with Carnivorous Cubes as well. So this is a card that I personally, if I'm not gonna get, I'm gonna craft. Downside to this card is you technically have to kill it the same time you play it, because no one is gonna let this card survive. I feel like in the new meta there'll be a lot of cards with silence and a lot of weapon removal, because if this death rattle comes into play, you're gonna feel it, man. So this is something that you can actually get back if you're playing Wild with Zoth. So Wild is gonna be crazy. But I love this card. Pretty strong, pretty powerful, and this card for me gets 5 stars. Bulwark of Azinoth. 3 mana, 1/4 weapon for warrior. I know the stats are not that good, but listen what it does. Legendary weapon. Whenever your hero would take damage, this loses 1 durability instead. That's crazy. That is actually insane. This basically means like if you have this weapon in play and someone hits you with a king crash to the face, instead of taking 8, the weapon loses 1 durability and you take 0 damage. That is crazy. That's why I'm saying in the new meta you have to have weapon removal, because you can't have someone stay with this weapon on for 4 turns while you're just trying to hit his face. It's gonna be crazy. If you are a demon hunter, your hero power would actually chip away at this, which is pretty good, as well as something like a mage hero power. This is also pretty good, and for that reason, this card gets a 4-star rating. Archspore msshi'fn. Okay, 3 mana, 3/4, basic stats. Legendary card, Druid. It is a taunt, so it's pretty good to deal with those early aggro cards. Death Rattle, shuffle msshi'fn Prime into your deck. So they have brought new cards, which are Prime cards, and as you can see, when it dies, it becomes a 10 mana 9/9 with a choose one. So basically, if you're playing Quest Druid, this is gonna be crazy. So you get a 10/10, you get a 10 mana 9/9 that says choose one. Summon a 9/9 Fungal Giant with Taunt or with Rush. So basically you get a 10 mana 9/9 and another 9/9 with Taunt or Rush, which is crazy. Which is actually crazy to me. So for me, This card is pretty good. It gets 5 stars. Imprisoned Satire, another druid card, 3 mana 3/3, pretty basic stats. This is one of the dormant cards, so it says dormant for 2 turns. When this awakens, reduce the cost of a random minion in your hand by 5. Again, I'm not a big fan of this dormant cards because you play 3 mana, you play a card on turn 3 and it does nothing for 2 more turns while your opponent is seriously just hitting you in the face. I don't like that. I prefer cards that do something immediately that played. So for me, dormant for 2 turns is a no. It should do something pretty amazing when it comes into play. What this card does is reduce the cost of a random minion in your hand by 5. So that means you have no control. You can kind of try and hopefully uh, play around and make it hit something big like a Maliagos or like a Dragon Queen or something. But the fact that it is a random minion throws me off, and for that reason this card gets 2 stars. The next card we have is a Warlock spell, 4 mana, the Dark Portal. Draw a minion. If you have at least 8 cards in hand, it costs 5 less. So basically this card is kind of pushing for hand lock. Again, it is a card which has a pretty high requirement, not that much for Warlock because they can draw cards pretty easy, but then again you still have to be really smart with how you play with this card and how you build your deck, because you do draw a minion. Okay, it says draw a minion, so not a spell. It doesn't say draw a card. Draw a minion. If you have at least 8 cards in your hand, that means your hand has to be pretty full. It costs 5 less, so you don't want to draw like a minion that's 3 mana. You get me? When the game is in the late stages, you really need this card when it's in the early stages of the game and you want to put in something big. But again, this card is very situational, and just for that, this card gets 3 stars. Imprisoned Observer, 3 mana 4/5 demon for mage. Good starts. Again, more demons in the game, which we love. Says dormant for 2 turns. When this awakens, deal 2 damage to all enemy minions. So again, a dormant card, not a big fan. So in 2 turns, when this awakens, it will deal 2 damage to all enemy minions. Again, very easy for your opponent to play around this because your opponent knows exactly when this card is going to be active. So he can easily just avoid putting token minions on the board for you to kill. And he could have like big minions that won't really be affected by 2 damage. So for me, a card like this gets 2 stars. Lady vashj. Don't know if I'm saying that right. 3 mana 4/3. Decent stats. Would prefer if it was a 3 mana 3/4. But it says spell damage +1. Death rattle shuffle vashj prime into your deck. So for a shaman card, spell damage is always welcomed. They have a lot of removal. This card is pretty good. Legendary card. Let's see its prime card. Its prime card is a 7 mana 5/4. Spell damage +1. Battle cry, draw 3 spells, reduce their cost by 3. Pretty cool card, pretty OP as well. Draw 3 cards and reduce the cost by 3 is amazing. You still get the spell damage. So for me, this card is pretty good, pretty strong. If you love Shaman, you would love this card. Gets 5 stars. We have Warrior. We haven't talked about Warrior too much, but they have Kargath Bladefist. 4 mana 4/4 with the Rash and Death Rattle shuffle Kargath Prime into your deck. One thing with these Prime cards that I love is they're all Death Rattles, and you can find a way to like make a Death Rattle deck just to make sure you get them back, which is pretty strong. So base stats, 4 mana 4/4 is Rush is just okay. It's just okay because you'll basically use him to trade into something. But when he dies, you get, really love this card. 8 mana 10/10, stats are amazing. Rush, whenever this attacks and kills a minion, gain 10 armor. Bro, that is crazy. And chances are, if you can actually attack twice or more depending on what you rush into. So meaning you can easily get 10, 20 or more armor, which is actually insane to me. And if you find a way to to replay this card because of its death rattle. That's just crazy. For me, this is an amazing card. If you love warrior, you need this card. 5 stars. Metamorphosis. This card was actually showcased when they're showing the new expansion. It is a 5 mana spell for the new class, Demon Hunter. It says swap your hero power to deal 5 damage. After 2 uses, swap it back. So for the Demon Hunter class, the hero power is the Demon Claw, which is a 1 mana hero power, gain 1 attack. So you swap it to this, deal 5 damage, which you can deal to either the opponent's hero's face or another minion, which is fine. Which is fine. This is basically like a 2-time Pyroblast. So can be used for burst damage when you're just about to kill your opponent. Problem is you take 2 turns. Burst damage is better in 1 turn because if you take 2 turns, you give your opponent time to recover. So for that reason only, this card gets 4 stars. Warglaives of Azinoth, Demon Hunter weapon. This is pretty solid. Pretty solid. It says 5 mana 3/4. After attacking a minion, your hero may attack again for the Demon Hunter class. So this is pretty good if you wanna chip away at like some tiny minions on the board. And this goes really well with the new Demon Hunter spells and cards, because they have a spell where your hero is immune this turn. So can you imagine dealing 12 damage and getting 0 damage to yourself? For that reason, gets 3 stars. Skull of Gul'dan is our final card for the review. Demon Hunter, 5 mana spell, Skull of Gul'dan. Draw 3 cards. Outcasts reduce their cost by 3. Another outcast card, pretty good. Drawing 3 cards for 5 mana by itself is okay. It's not unheard of. Pretty okay, pretty standard in Hearthstone. But getting to reduce the cost by 3, that means you draw 3 cards for 2 mana. That's pretty solid. Pretty good. Especially for a class like Demon Hunter, which is pretty aggro, going through the cards fast. I really like this card. This card gets 4 stars. Thank you guys for joining me. Let me know if you guys want me to do a review of the Demon Hunter class cards and their basic set. Leave a comment below and let me know if you want me to do that. Don't forget to like, comment, and sub.